Today we're gonna dive deep into power, into your power, and talk about in the healing world and in the content that I work with the power and what that means. So the kind of power we're going to talk about today is the power that you give away, the power that you give away to people around you, to situations, to the government, to um, your teachers, the power that you give away to others, to science. Um, so it's everywhere in our life where we decide that what someone else did or did not do, what a situation created, or what the government decided is to blame for how your life is. And how things has turned out for you. As long as we blame others and point the finger at others, we're giving our power away. Then it's other people's situations' fault that you are not where you want to be, that you cannot create what you want to create. And when you put yourself in that position, you're not going to create anything because you don't have any power to do it. So this thing about taking your power home is taking responsibility for these situations, for your part in it, which is the part where you gave up your power, and then to take the power home. Because when we give away our power, we no longer feel that we can create. And this is not in every part of our lives, because you probably have parts in your life where you create with ease, and where it's not an issue. But often we will meet these walls when there's something that is very important for us to create, but that we keep on not creating because we cannot feel that we have the freedom to create it and the ability to create what we dream of. So in many ways, we've been programmed to give our power away. We have been taught that science know better, and that the doctor know better. We have been taught that your teacher knows better, your parents knows better. So from very early on in our lives, we're taught that what we feel is not correct. So when we as small children say, "Oh, I don't want to go to kindergarten, I want to stay home," your parents might have said, because they had to go to work, they could not stay home with you. So they might have said, "Oh, it's gonna be an awful fun to go to the kindergarten. Come, let's go to the kindergarten." So they are not acknowledging that you don't want to go. They're telling you, no, 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 what you're feeling is not correct. This is what you should feel. And this way of convincing people, convincing children that they cannot trust their own feelings is it's a very old way of behaving, and it's a very old way of maintaining power. So we also find it in a lot in the religions. The religions tell us how to have a relationship with God, how to have the right relationship with God, how we should behave in order for God to love us, how we should behave in order to be allowed into heaven after death, depending on which religion we grew up in. So in our most important relationship, our relationship to a higher energy, a higher consciousness, we were told that not to trust our own intuition to how this connection could be, but to do it in specific ways, because if we did not do it in these specific ways, God would leave us, God would abandon us, God would punish us. So when we put this angle on it, you can see how it can be almost terrifying to take your power home, because nobody wants deep down to be abandoned and punished and left. And for many people, at least in my country, in my generation, we have chosen to have no God at all, because we didn't want to we didn't want that kind of God that in Denmark it's Christianity mainly, that God that were presented. So a lot of people have just like pushed religion out of their everyday life, because they do not want that connection. But it often leaves us astray, because we still yearn for a connection, but we were never taught how to have this connection. And a way to have this connection is that we start taking responsibility and taking our power back. So I hope that now you get a sense of what I mean when I'm saying that we give our power away. And taking all that power home requires courage, but it also creates courage. And it requires courage to decide to take your power home, because when you take your power home, you take the responsibility as well, the full responsibility, and that's courageous to do that. And it's also liberating, because when you take the power home, you have the power to change things. If the power is out other places with other people, other organizations, governments, countries, you have no power to change it. So taking it home, even though it might be painful and difficult, and no, painful and difficult, we'll stop there. It will also be immensely rewarding to do that. So to see where you've given your power away, understand why you gave your power away, and then to take it home. So let's take a moment here where you close your eyes, and let's download some feelings to support you in this. So can we download you that it's safe to feel your strength, and it is safe to feel your power? And can we also download you that it is safe to take your strength and your power home? And if you want these, you say yes. Thank you. And then breathe for me. Breathe. There you go. Okay. So there's several levels on which we can take our power home. There are those things that happened in your past, in your life, that you define yourself from. Things that people around you did to you, or did not do to you. And then you can define yourself from that. So my dad, he left me when, not my dad, I'm giving examples. It can be that your dad left you when you were young, you were 3-4 years, And then for the rest of your life, it's sad for you that you were somebody who were left. Or maybe some people have parents that are alcoholic, or they have parents that are absent emotionally or physically. They have lost a parent to death, to illness. They have been abused. They have had terrible accidents. Had parents who had no responsibility whatsoever concerning economic safety, so grew up in an economically unsafe environment. And all these things you can define yourself from that. Yeah. Poor me, I had a dad that. Poor me, I had a mother that. Poor me, I lost a sister that. And yes, of course, feel the sorrow, feel the anger, feel the regret. But then taking your power home is closing the door and saying, I choose to not define myself from this anymore. I hope this makes sense. That you have a choice to stop letting yourself define by your past. And when you look out to other people, you can see people who have done this, people who come from, who have all sorts of horrific stories about their childhood, and who still close the door to that and create what they wish for in their life. Not only success and a lot of money and world fame, but create the peace inside them that they never got, or create the family life with their children that they never got, the safety and the connection that they never got. So it's a choice. Do you want to define yourself from what you come from, or do you want to close the door? Will you keep on telling the story when people ask you who you are, or will you let go of that story? That is a choice, and feel the freedom in that. So for a minute, close your eyes and then feel into which stories is it you tell about yourself, about who you are. Which sad stories, which heavy stories, which non-supporting stories is it you tell about yourself. It might be that you had some bad experiences at school with some teachers who did not see you, who did not understand you, who did not value you, and that you onwards in your life keep saying that, oh, I'm not very good at that, and oh, I'm a slow learner, or I can never get the right answers. And you choose keeping defining yourself from that, but you choose to say, well, that was somebody else's opinion. I have another opinion. And then decide to be somebody who will find the answer, who will be fast, who will be clever, who can do all these things. So feel the freedom in that. Where do you tell yourself stories that do not support you? Where do you define yourself by what others told you? Because as soon as you let them define you, you give away your power. And maybe make a list, maybe in your head, maybe just write them down and take time afterwards to sit with this. To sit with it and to decide to close the door. And in that movement, you start walking from fear towards love. The fear of not being enough towards loving yourself no matter what. And it's a beautiful motion. It's a beautiful movement. And it's also choosing to go, every time you say something negative about yourself, to say cancel, delete. I say create a show me another way. Cancel, delete, create, show me another way. You can also say cancel, delete, and then find something that is positive and lifting you instead, and say that instead. I choose to grow. I choose to evolve. I choose to look forward and let go of negative definitions of me, for example. So you have this sentence ready to support yourself when you discover that you are talking yourself down. Because as soon as you talk yourself down, you talk other people's talk and you give your power away. Okay. So these places where we give our power away, when we give our power away, it creates very often resentment and hate and anger towards those people that we give our power to, or those situations that we give our power to. And this resentment, the anger, the regret is stored in your body, very often in the liver. And when it's stored in the liver cannot do the work it's supposed to do, which is during the day to give energy to arms and legs. And during the night, it is to cleanse our blood and to rinse and regenerate our total organ system. This is our liver's role. It's our liver's role to rinse out the hormones once they have done their job, so they do not keep moving around our body and doing things they're not supposed to do. It's our liver's role to get rid of toxins, to get rid of pollution. This is our liver's role. But if we fill our liver with suppressed anger and suppressed resentment and suppressed regret, we stop it from being able to do that in an efficient way. And then we create illnesses, both physical and psychological illnesses we create. And when we start taking things home, taking it home, taking it home, taking it, then we support our liver to heal. And liver is, thank God, one of the organs in the body that recreates itself the best if we support it. So there are many layers to start feeling better when we start taking our power home. Let's see. So I keep talking about this thing about to take the responsibility home, and I would like to elaborate what I mean about that. It's because when we complain about, well, I feel like this because this person did like that, we give that person the power to decide how we feel. And it also very often puts us in the victim role. But when we take it home, when we decide to take it home, we also have to be responsible for how we feel, to be responsible for changing the feeling, and also be responsible to look at that victim role and see, okay, so what am I going to do about that? And it's not something we are taught in school, how we do these things. It's very rarely something we're taught at home as well, how we do these things, how we take them home. So it can seem like a huge challenge to do that. But very often it doesn't take much more than claiming, okay, I take responsibility for this situation. I take responsibility for changing it. I might not know how to do it, but I do take the responsibility, and I believe that I will be supported in taking this responsibility, and that I will be inspired to how I do that. I'll give you an example. When I was a child, if I misbehaved, and this is a very common thing that parents will do, my parents would walk away and then leave me there standing with my, okay, I did something wrong. I'm ashamed, but I don't understand what's going on. So when I had my children and they challenged me, I would walk away and close the door, because that was how I was taught to solve a conflict. You just left. But I could feel that when I did that, I could remember how painful it was having that done to me. So taking the power home is me turning around, opening the door, going into my child, sitting next to the child and saying, I don't know how we're going to solve this, but I am not leaving you. Yeah. See, I didn't know how. And I figured it out. And I insisted on figuring it out. But the first step is choosing to do something different. So we're back to choice that we talked about yesterday. So making the choice is also taking the responsibility and taking your power home. So very often we have hang-ups with responsibility, with taking responsibility. So I would like you to muscle test a handful of these hang-ups or beliefs around what taking responsibility means and is. Let's muscle test just like we did yesterday. I will present for you again how you do it. You stand up, close your eyes, and then with your voice out loud, you say yes, yes, yes. And then feel the pull forward. This is your yes. You say no, no, no. And feel the pull backwards. This is your no. So then when you say these beliefs that I mentioned to you now, you can feel whether your body, and that equals your subconsciousness, says yes or no to this belief. I just have to put some power for my computer so we don't. Let's see. Here we go. So it doesn't shut down in the middle of this. Okay, so keep standing there, close your eyes, and then say out loud, responsibility is difficult. Do you lean forward as a yes or lean backward as a no? Responsibility is hard. Responsibility is challenging. Responsibility is boring. Responsibility will kill me. I am not worthy of taking responsibility. And the next one, women can take responsibility. What is interesting is if you have the belief that women cannot take responsibility, but we always make these beliefs without a negation in it. So this is why you want to test women can take responsibility, and then yes, yeah, women can take responsibility. No, you have a belief that women cannot take responsibility. And the last one is I have to take responsibility to be allowed to be here. And then let's pull these beliefs, those you had that you don't need you anymore and that doesn't serve you anymore. So can we ask Creator to pull the beliefs around responsibilities that doesn't serve you? Pull them on your core level, on your genetic level, cancel or delete them there, cancel, delete them on soul level, and then cancel, resolve them on your history level, which is the collective consciousness. And if you want this, say yes. And can we replace it with responsibility creates freedom? I take responsibility with grace and ease. Responsibility sets me free. And if you want this, say yes. And can we ask Creator to download you with the highest definition, truth, and perspective on responsibility? And what it means to feel safe taking responsibility? If you want this, say yes. And take deep breath here, deep inhalations, and let go on the exhalation. And 2, 3 more deep inhalations and sigh on the exhalation. There you go. Thank you. Great. So now you have much more knowledge about where you give your power away. We have freed you from some of the obstacles, the negative beliefs that has kept you from taking your power home. So it will be easier to take your power home now. And you also have the knowledge to sit and spot the places where you give your power away. And to start taking it home consciously. How do I want this situation to be? Instead of, oh, my ex, beep, 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 mom, dad, grandfather, sister, brother, husband, wife, children, always do this to ruin the evening. And then take your power home and say, okay, how can I take responsibility for creating a nice evening? So shift into another reality, shift into another mindset. Great. Thank you for listening and taking the time to educate yourself on strength in this sense that we have worked with it today.